Hello, for my presentation, we will be talking about increasing the declining education exchange between the US and China. 45 years ago, China took a bold step toward international engagement as Deng Xiaoping began sending students abroad to study in countries around the world. This decision sparked a major increase in the number of Chinese students studying internationally, with nearly 800,000 students from China now enrolled in universities across the globe. However, this trend is now reversing. The number of Chinese students studying in the United States is declining rapidly, and the number of American students studying in China is at an all-time low. In this presentation, I will explore the history of educational exchange between China and the US, reasons for its decline, and propose ways we can increase these exchanges to foster better cultural understanding, strengthen international ties, and prepare the next generation of global leaders. Let's start with the history of the exchange. The China Education Tours, or the CET program, was established in 1982 and was the key part of America's educational exchange with China. The CET organized short-term language and cultural studies for American students. This mirrored the efforts of Deng Xiaoping in the late 1970s to send Chinese students abroad to learn and engage with the world. This was used as a way to promote awareness of different cultures to help foster new leaders and innovators. The program took place in cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Harbin, and Hangzhou, but recently they are only available in Shanghai and Beijing, with Harbin's program suspended until the spring of 2025 due to funding issues. In 2011 to 2012, the number of American students studying in China peaked at 15,000. Today, however, that number has plummeted to just 200 students, a very concerning decline. Similarly, the number of Chinese students in the United States reached a high of 372,532 during the 2019-2020 academic year, but dropped to 289,525 in the year of 2022 to 2023, largely due to COVID-19 and the pandemic and increasing geopolitical tensions. There are many reasons as to why the numbers have lowered. For American students in China, this is due to pollution and human rights violations. For Chinese students in America, this is due to political aggressiveness and visa restrictions, and geopolitical climate. All of these are valid reasons as to why these numbers have lowered. The tensions are an all-time high between China and America. China is rapidly growing as a nation, which in the eyes of America is a threat. This trend represents a missed opportunity for fostering mutual understanding and collaboration between two of the world's largest economies. Now, more than ever, we need to focus on increasing these educational exchanges to build stronger connections between China and the US. There are several compelling reasons why we must act to reverse the decline in educational exchanges. So here are some of the reasons. Preparing future leaders. The young citizens of both the US and China will one day become the leaders, policymakers, business executives, and academics who shape our world. To be effective leaders, it is crucial that they understand the perspectives and cultures of each other's nations. Exchange programs prepare the students for the complex international challenges that they will face, giving them a deeper understanding of each other's values, policies, and behaviors. This cultural awareness is key to fostering cooperation and solving global problems. Cross-cultural understanding. Educational exchange programs help dispel stereotypes and promote understanding between cultures. Chinese students who study in the US gain first-hand experience with American politics, society, and values. Similarly, American students who study in China get to experience a culture vastly different from their own. By engaging with one another in educational settings, students from both countries can build meaningful ties and relationships, creating stronger ties that will benefit diplomatic relations in the future. Economics and educational benefits. Education exchange also brings significant economic benefits. Chinese students contribute to the US economy by paying tuition, housing costs, and supporting local businesses. The same holds true for American students studying in China. Moreover, both countries' educational systems offer different opportunities and perspectives that enrich that learning experience of the students. These exchanges promote not only the economies of both nations, but also broaden the global outlook of their educational systems. So, what can we do to increase these exchanges? Here are a few key recommendations for policies. Expanding access to student visas. One major barrier to student exchange is visa restrictions. In recent years, the US has made it more difficult for Chinese students to obtain study visas, and China has reciprocated by imposing stricter visa rules on American students. To address this, the US should streamline visa processes for students, making them easier to obtain and reducing bureaucratic hurdles. A fast-track visa process or a dedicated student visa category can make it much easier for students from both countries to study abroad. We can also increase funding for bilateral exchange programs. One of the key barriers to studying abroad is the cost. Tuition, travel expenses, and living costs can be restrictive for many students. To address this, the US government should increase funding for student exchange programs, offering more scholarships and financial aid for both American and Chinese students. Public-private partnerships with universities, nonprofits, and corporations can also help support these exchanges, making them more accessible to a wider range of students. I know personally that I would love to study abroad, but the cost is keeping me away. Having better access to funding and scholarships for study abroad will definitely make it more attractive to students. To wrap it up, the decline in educational exchange between the United States and China represents a missed opportunity to build stronger ties between the two countries. By increasing student visa access and funding for exchange programs, we can create opportunities for students to learn from one another, foster greater cross-cultural understanding, and prepare the next generation of leaders for the challenges they will face in the interconnected world. These efforts will benefit not only the students involved, but also economies, political relationships, and futures of both nations. Investing in educational exchanges today will help build a more peaceful, cooperative, and prosperous future for China and the United States. Thank you.